You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted best of Pahrump for 4 years. Give them a call, 775-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New, service, and repair. Call Gunny's, 775-727-6800.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry. Thanks for joining us on Ace Country Radio, and we're also streaming at KPVM.TV. We're also on your Roku devices. It is Thursday, January 15th. In our top story, we're telling you about a two-vehicle crash today in Pahrump near AutoZone, not far from the News 25 studios, that unfortunately resulted in minor injuries. One person involved in that accident was transported to Desert View Hospital. Christy Willis reports.
Jason Ernest of Mount West Lawyers. Don't be bullied by insurance companies. Call me, 775-727-9500.
At approximately 9:30 a.m. today, a two-vehicle collision occurred on Frontage Road outside of AutoZone. According to the initial report, a woman driving a white Toyota RAV4 was traveling southbound on Frontage Road when she allegedly sideswiped the left side of a Ford Maverick that was traveling northbound. The impact caused the Toyota to veer off the roadway, drive through the landscaped area in front of AutoZone, and come to rest in the middle of the AutoZone parking lot. The driver of the white Toyota was transported to Desert View Hospital with minor injuries. No other injuries were reported and traffic was not affected.
And now Haley Grabby has our daily arrest report, which finds a Pahrump man arrested for gun charges, drugs, marijuana plants, and that list keeps going.
Authorities in Pahrump say domestic disturbance called multiple felony charges after deputies discovered firearms, drugs, and an illegal marijuana operation inside a residence. The suspect was later identified as Ricardo Venegas. According to Nye County deputies, officers were dispatched to a home on January 11th just after 10:20 in the morning after a man was reporting he was fearing for his safety. The caller told dispatch he was renting a room in the home and wanted to leave, but he was afraid the homeowner might hurt him. He also claimed the homeowner was a convicted felon and possessed firearms. When deputies arrived, the caller told officers the homeowner frequently became aggressive and made indirect threats. He also said he had seen multiple firearms inside the house. Deputies then contacted the homeowner, who admitted he was a convicted felon due to a prior burglary conviction. He initially claimed that he did not have any access to firearms. However, after speaking with the other occupants inside the home, deputies learned that the firearms were present, including one secured in the safe of the homeowner's bedroom. With consent, deputies opened the safe and located a 9mm handgun, loaded magazines, and ammunition. During the investigation, deputies also learned the homeowner admitted to smoking marijuana multiple times a day and growing marijuana plants on the property. A search warrant was later granted, allowing deputies to search the residence and surrounding property. During that search, deputies seized multiple firearms, ammunition, 6 mature marijuana plants, marijuana clones, seeds, drug processing equipment, packaging materials, and chemicals used for cultivation. Deputies also recovered a substance that field tested positive for morphine. As a result, the homeowner was arrested and charged with being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm, illegal marijuana cultivation, possession of a controlled substance, and possession with intent to sell or distribute.
And in national news, a Michigan Democratic lawmaker wants to abolish U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. It's called the Abolish ICE Act. More now.
Michigan Democratic Congressman Sri Tanadar announced this week that he will introduce the Abolish ICE Act, a legislation to dismantle U.S. immigration and customs enforcement following the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good by an officer in Minneapolis. Tanadar says the incident underscores a larger pattern of harm and concludes that ICE is beyond reform and must be abolished in favor of a more humane immigration system.
ICE is beyond reform. ICE is totally out of control, and this week I intend to introduce a bill to abolish ICE. We need to make ICE go away.
The proposal has immediately sparked intense debate across Washington with the Democratic Party, with some progressives backing calls to end the agency, while more moderate lawmakers warn the policy could have political and national security implications. Tanadar's remarks come as protests continue nationwide over Good's death, with thousands marching in Minneapolis and other cities demanding accountability and an end to ICE operations.
And today, 2 Nevada senators come together out with their intentions to redirect funds utilized for ICE to be sent toward hiring more local police and law enforcement right here in Nevada. Senators Cortez Masto and Rosen are behind the idea.
On Thursday, January 15th, U.S. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada introduced a bill that would redirect excessive ICE funding towards local police and law enforcement. It's called the Public Safety Act. This bill would redirect almost $75 billion in additional funding from Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This money was allotted from and passed in the Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The intention would be to invest in Nevada's local law enforcement programs. The Nevada senator also stated that ICE has lowered its training and hiring standards, putting undertrained and unvetted agents on the streets, creating more distrust of local law enforcement. Senator Rosen said the Trump administration's mass immigration enforcement is causing chaos and instilling fear in our communities because they are going after law-abiding immigrants and even U.S. citizens. She went on to say in the press release, "We know that our local law enforcement officers make our community safer, and we should give them every resource available to help them do that. I'll continue pushing the Trump administration to fund hiring more police officers for Nevada."
And go Knights go. After this break, we'll find out if they can catch up with a 6th win next.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights are on a 5-game winning streak. Mikey Ruhan is slapshotting that and more now in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. Captain Mark Stone needed just 25 seconds of overtime, barely enough time to finish your popcorn, to lift the Golden Knights past the Kings. 3-2 on Wednesday night. Jack Eichel dished out 3 assists, including the game winner to Stone. Vegas made it 5 straight wins, their best streak of the season. Next up, the Golden Knights welcome the Toronto Maple Leafs this evening. On the hardwood, the UNLV Lady Rebels stayed scorching hot, rolling past San Jose State 78-50 on Wednesday night. That's 7 straight wins for UNLV. Looking ahead to football, UNLV will open the 2026 season at home against Memphis in Week 0 at Allegiant Stadium, the first ever meeting between the two programs. Mark your calendars for August 29th. And finally, the Raiders coaching search rolls on. As of January 15th, 7 candidates have been interviewed, enough to start a reality show. Kevin Stefanski, Matt Nagy, Davis Webb, Vance Joseph, Clint Kubiak, Jesse Minter, and Irio Evero. Stay tuned. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
Thanks, Mikey. And in more local news, WalletHub.com releases their list of the best and worst states to raise a family. And guess where Nevada ranks? Unfortunately, near the bottom. More now with this sobering report from Chris Palermo.
Earlier this week, WalletHub.com came up with their ranking of the most family-friendly states. They evaluated all 50 states using 50 key indicators, and Nevada ranked close to the bottom. In fact, the Silver State landed in a woeful 47th place on the list of states that were the most favorable to raise a family. Massachusetts topped the list. The criteria included access to quality education, health care, safety, strong job opportunities, and entertainment. New Mexico ranked at the bottom of the list for raising a family out of all 50 states. Wallet Hub analyst Chip Lupo said, raising a family has become significantly more expensive in recent years as the cost of living has risen quickly. In fact, it can cost a family as much as $320,000 to raise a child to age 18, according to statistics from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. In light of the expensive nature of being a parent and the responsibility it entails, it's important to live in a city that is affordable while still providing quality health care, education, safety, and opportunities for enrichment.
Well, did you know that technically the brain is also a muscle? In today's health news, we're hearing about the importance of mental exercise that's just as important as physical exercise.
Anytime an organ of the body isn't being used for what its intended use is, it tends not to function as well. So brain and mental exercise helps to build resiliency. So that's the ability of the brain to withstand challenges. And those challenges can be anything from a highly stressful day or a rough afternoon to brain pathologies like Alzheimer's disease pathology, Parkinson's disease pathology, and so forth.
Dr. Dylan Wendt is a neurologist at Cleveland Clinic. He says, unlike physical exercise, there aren't established recommendations for how much mental exercise is needed. However, it is suggested to pick exercises that are considered challenging and require your brain to think. Some examples include reading, putting together a puzzle, playing a memory game, or learning a new language. Dr. Wendt says there are also things we can do in our daily life to get mental exercise, such as figuring out a new route to work or using your non-dominant hand for routine tasks.
The real goal here is to avoid passivity, is for your brain to be thinking, to be exploring, to be coming up with ideas, to be looking for solutions to problems. And those can be real problems. So there's data suggesting that the longer someone stays at work instead of retiring, the better their brain does in the long run. Or they can be sort of contrived challenges, such as we see in games.
Well, how many mental reps did you do during that news story? We have much more news you can use after this break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back. Well, in today's electrifying news, do you ever wonder how your power gets restored after an outage? Valley Electric Association is here to share that process now.
This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Valley Electric and its family of companies focused on serving our members. We're better together.
When the power goes out, most of us expect it to come back on within a few hours, but sometimes major storms cause widespread damage and outages can last longer than expected. The good news is that your electric co-op's line crews work long, hard hours to restore service safely to the greatest number of members. That's you in the shortest time possible. Ever wonder how they do it? Well, there are 4 steps to restoring power that we should all know about, especially when we find ourselves in the dark. Step 1. Repair high-voltage transmission lines. Transmission towers and lines supply power to thousands of members. They rarely fall, but when they do, they must be repaired first before other parts of the system can operate. Step 2. Inspect distribution substation. Distribution substations receive high voltage power from transmission lines, then disperse that power at a lower voltage to the co-op's main distribution lines. Depending on your electric co-op's service territory, distribution substations can serve either hundreds or thousands of members. When a major power outage occurs, the co-op's line crews inspect the substation to determine if the problem stems from the transmission lines feeding into the substation itself, or if the problem is further down the line. Step 3. Check main distribution lines. If the problem cannot be isolated at a distribution substation, the main distribution lines are checked first. These lines carry power to large groups of members in your electric co-op's service territory. Step 4. Examine tap lines. If local outages persist, supply lines called tap lines are examined. These lines deliver power to transformers that are either mounted on poles or placed on pads for underground service and can be found outside of homes, businesses, and schools. Occasionally, damage will occur on the service lines between the nearest transformer and your home. Has your neighbor ever had power while yours is out? That is why. When the problem is in the tap lines, co-op line crews will fix outages in an order that will restore service to the greatest number of members at a time. As you can see, restoring power after a major outage is a big job and involves much more than simply flipping a switch or removing a tree from a damaged line. When co-ops work to restore power, they often have the capability to work on multiple parts of the system simultaneously. This ensures reliable power with a faster response time. In the event of an outage, your local line crews will restore power safely to the greatest number of members in the shortest time possible, and we'll keep working until the lights are back on. As always, we appreciate your patience and your business.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Let's take a look through our Lerner and Rowe weather cam on this mid-January day at the weather conditions at Ian Dortch Memorial Park. And we have a wild horse there enjoying this beautiful 70-degree day. More in weather next.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Let's take a look now at our weather conditions here in Pahrump, in Las Vegas, and throughout the Silver State. Death Valley's high today, a balmy 80 degrees, but then temperatures will drop down to the mid-50s overnight. Las Vegas is a comfortable 70 degrees for the high, but dropping down into the upper 40s overnight. Amargosa's high 74. Beatty also tops out at 70. Goldfield's high a chilly 56 degrees. Then they drop 30 degrees overnight into the mid-20s. Tonopah tops out at 52, then drops 30 degrees to 22 overnight. Carson City's high 52 with a low of 23. The near-weather twins of Fallon and Fernley have highs in the low 50s, then drop down to the low 20s and mid-teens overnight. And currently in Pahrump, it is 62 degrees. Our high was 71 today, with winds out of the southeast at 4 miles per hour. Humidity was moderate at 28%. Sunrise was at 6:54 a.m. And overnight, we can expect a low here in Pahrump of 37 degrees. And winds will be out of the northeast at 5 miles per hour. Humidity increases to 45%. And sunset was at 4:52 p.m. Look ahead to our 7-day forecast And we're going into a beautiful weekend with highs in the upper 60s, flirting with the 70s going into our holiday for Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Day. On Monday, it will be a sunny day for that parade in downtown Las Vegas with highs of 69, but then dropping to 39 overnight. And the rest of our work week and the beginning of the NSHE college semester on Tuesday also has a sunny day with highs in the upper 60s, then dropping down to the low 40s overnight. We have scattered clouds rolling in midweek, but those temperatures are only dropping a bit to the mid 60s for the highs and remaining in the low 40s overnight. So enjoy this upcoming MLK Day holiday. Enjoy the weekend before, and you may have to grab jackets going into the mid-work week next week. So enjoy this January weather. That does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the air next newscast. Good night.